Support for this episode comes from SaneBox. Is email a soul-crushing distraction? If so, then you need SaneBox. SaneBox's artificial intelligence monitors your inbox. Automatically unimportant email is moved to your Sane Later folder, and all that's left is the important stuff and your smiles. If you know how email folders work, then you know how SaneBox works. Find an email in the wrong folder? Just move it. Nothing to learn, nothing to install. SaneBox works directly with every single email server or service that has ever been created. And as a luxury item listener, you get a free 2-week trial and a $25 credit by visiting sanebox.com/luxury today. That's sanebox.com/luxury.
You're listening to The Luxury Item, the podcast on the business of luxury and the people and companies that are shaping the future of the luxury industry. Here's your host, Scott Kerr.
They say diamonds are forever, but what about ones grown in labs? Lab diamonds are entirely man-made and have the same physical and chemical properties as mine ones. Recently, lab-grown diamonds have gained legitimacy as bigger companies like De Beers and Pandora began selling them. Both the lab-grown and mining industries are looking to capture consumers as the global economic recovery sparks a rebound in luxury demand. But are luxury consumers ready to ditch their Bulgari, Cartier, and Harry Winston natural diamond jewelry for lab-grown counterparts? One San Francisco-based lab-grown diamond startup, Diamond Foundry, seems to think so. Diamond Foundry is backed by various Silicon Valley and Hollywood types, including blood diamond star Leonardo DiCaprio. The company acquired fine jewelry label Vrai and Oro in 2017, and ever since, the brand has been designing high-quality jewelry using diamonds grown in the foundry. It dropped the Oro from the name, and it's now just Vrai. My guest today on the luxury item is Mona Akhavi, Chief Executive Officer of Vrai. Akhavi joined Vrai as CEO in 2019, moving over from Diamond Foundry where she was head of marketing. Akhavi is an engineer turned entrepreneur and marketer who prior to Diamond Foundry founded and sold a company that developed one of the first digital marketing platforms for micro-influencers on Instagram. Mona was Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in Canada for her work, as well as Canada's top 25 women of influence. Welcome to the luxury item, Mona.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining me. Over the last year, I've had a couple of guests on the show from the natural diamonds side of the business. I had David Kelly, who is the CEO of the Natural Diamond Council, and I had Rebecca Forrester, who's the president of Alrosa USA. So I figured, let's have a balanced platform here and bring on a leader in the lab-grown diamond space to talk about this rapidly growing trend. And I couldn't think of a better person than you, Mona, to join me on this.
Thank you. Very happy to be here and chatting with you.
So I think a great way to kick things off is if you could talk about how Vrai started and how the parent company, the Diamond Foundry, came into being and how they work together.
Absolutely, for sure. Our parent company, Diamond Foundry, was basically born by our founding team that comes from an extensive solar technology background and experience. Years and years of innovative research into solar electricity cells and some of the most leading technologies in the world. And then we started studying the laws of nature around diamonds and how diamonds grow under the ground. A lot of the sort of conversation in early on was the environmental and human impacts and toll of mining on our, on the earth and on social communities. And we looked at, what we can create from a technology standpoint to recreate and basically create the same environment that a diamond is formed under the earth. A diamond is born from a fury of heat, and it's basically a carbon lattice that forms in, an atomic figure that can then be polished into what we know of a gem grade diamond these days. So we started building a plasma reactor, which is a proprietary technology made out of hundreds of individually precision engineered parts. Then inside that reactor, a plasma as hot as the outer layer of the sun forms. That's where the diamonds grow.
So is essentially a lab-grown diamond, aside from coming from a mine, essentially the same as a natural diamond?
Absolutely.
The makeup of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Atomically, chemically, it's exactly the same. It's a carbon lattice that's formed and stacked in a formation that's turned into a rough diamond. And interestingly enough, each one of these rough diamonds grow uniquely as well, because during the growth process, one by one, the atoms stack on top of each other, and creating a unique structure that then later on, even as you know, lab-grown diamond can be graded and is now graded in the market the same way as a mine diamond, with the same 4Cs and with the same grading standards by some of the grading organizations and bodies out there. FTC came out. I don't know if just for the, I guess you know this, but for the consumers,
Hmm.
FTC came out and said a diamond is a diamond, and that's when many of the grading agencies started to also grade lab-grown diamonds. Similar way, you're looking at now. One of the other things that the industry started in putting into the certificates, especially when the momentum of lab-grown diamonds in the market started, and especially because when consumers wanted to know the origin of a diamond, is now a diamond mined or lab-grown has a certificate that has all the 4Cs, the color, cut, clarity, and the carat weight, but it also has the origin where the diamond comes from. So, you really have to look at that on the certificate, because the country of the origin now needs to be specified. And that's where we're very proud to sort of position Diamond Foundry on the certificate of the diamonds we use in our Vrai jewelry.
Right.
And that's how naturally we started looking at the market. Consumer market was loving this and wanting us to produce some jewelry and pieces that they can own, these diamonds that are coming out from our plasma reactor. So that's when we shifted towards Vrai, our consumer jewelry brand, and started putting out jewelry to the market and growing the side of the business. And that is now, that's now marketing our diamonds within jewelry collections
Right.
for engagement ring and bridal to consumers.
And how is the process different in the way Diamond Foundry grows diamonds versus everybody else? Is the process different?
So the technology is different. The process, there's two processes in the market to grow lab grown. One is called CVD, chemical vapor disposition, and one is HPHD, high pressure, high temperature. And we are using CVD method, but our technology is uniquely different from everyone else because we use hydropower as the input energy into our technology. And we are actually the first producer in the world that was certified to be carbon neutral. Our foundry is zero emission. So everything from the operation of the foundry and our reactors, all the way to employees driving to the office, we've looked at every part of the process and the supply chain and our operations, and we've worked with a third party auditor and body and looked at that impact. So, simply said, that is exactly the difference we have with everyone else who's producing lab grown in this market.
So how long does it take to grow like a 1 carat diamond?
Great question. It takes about a few weeks to grow that within a reactor. Again, each diamond is growing uniquely, and after that few weeks, we take out the rough and cut and polish that within our own workshops. We have our own craftsmen, and our craftsmen are fourth generation diamond polishers. And one of the things we've been really honing in on with Vrai is some of the unique shapes and cuts. We cut for maximum brilliance, which is definitely another differentiator in the market for us.
Mhm.
And we've been able to create some unique shapes and really use them within jewelry and allow our designers and our community of designers to really sort of break the boundaries of what they can do. We have over 14 different shapes on Vrai websites, which is our main point of sale that we offer. It's very hard for a consumer to find that many different shapes in one store or on one retailer or on one e-com. On the Mine Diamond side, it's not even possible to cut some of these shapes because it doesn't, the rough, the starting rough material doesn't exist in that quality and that level. So that's been an exciting area for us to sort of move towards as well.
Is there a maximum size right now that Diamond Foundry can grow a diamond?
Great question. We have grown a 45 carat rough, which was the largest in the past couple of years for the all diamond ring. That was designed by Johnny Ive. We worked with Red and Bono's auction. We polished it down to about 7.5 carats. So that's but until today, that's our record, that piece.
How do you value a lab grown diamond?
Great question. Similar ways. So a lab-grown diamond is also very much the value is driven by the market. Similar to a mine diamond, where it's attached to the Rappaport pricing model. It's driven very much in the past few years based on the consumer demand and what the consumers are willing to pay for it. For us, it's been an interesting time where, on average, a diamond foundry rough sells for 282 per carat. That number is 2 times higher than the price per carat of some of the larger miners in the world. And that comes from consistently a better quality and larger carat production that we've had. It's been interesting to sort of play around with that value in the market. In a way, it's more about what the consumers have been willing to pay. And we've seen, on our website on Vrai, we have pieces ranging from $400 all the way up to $70,000. And it's been interesting to see our consumers really adapting to lab-grown diamonds as a luxury piece. A lot of our average order value for this quarter, we just finished doing some of the numbers, and our average order value for jewelry is at $790,
Wow.
our high time record. And that's actually twice the average order value of jewelry for one of the biggest luxury jewelry makers in the world.
Wow. You don't want to
yes.
drop any names, do you?
No.
Okay.
You felt that, but yes, we do have some benchmarks. It's pretty clear who our benchmark is in the luxury market when it comes to Vrai jewelry. Yes.
Yeah. So, the Diamond Foundry has a bunch of high-profile investors, including Leonardo DiCaprio, who starred in, of course, Blood Diamond, which is a film about the mining industry in war-torn regions of Africa. How did he get involved in the company?
He heard about the company. We are a San Francisco-based, LA-based, and recently we opened up offices in Europe and in China. We have operations in Canada. So somehow Leo and his team heard about us and wanted to get to know more details and wanted to learn more and got involved. He's been one of our longest time investors for sure from day one. Yes.
Is he a hands-on investor?
He's been very much championing many of the things we do just because of the alignment of the value we have.
Right.
We don't generally talk about it, but what I can say, we don't talk about the investors themselves, but have to clear it with every one of their teams. But but what I can say is, Scott, we are so fortunate to be surrounded with such incredibly intelligent group of investors around us, not only because of the alignment of value they have in terms of making the world a better place, making an impact on the environmental initiatives that's in the world, but also believing in the vision and the path we've taken. So it's been really lovely to sort of have that. And it's another, it's also a vote of confidence. It's definitely made us stronger as we've seen growth with Vrai and Diamond Foundry during pandemic. It's a vote of confidence to have some of these investors with us.
Yeah. And speaking of investors, in late April, Diamond Foundry chalked up $1.8 billion valuation after a $200 million investment by Fidelity. So congratulations on that. That's huge. So what is the money being earmarked for right now?
Thank you. Absolutely. This funding came in just, as the pandemic was sort of tapering down. It really was a great, again, vote of confidence on the path we're taking and the growth and the potential that exists in the market and the industry seeing that. And hopefully this paves the path for a lot more jewelry companies and industries to start using lab grown. We're actually ramping up our production to 3 to 5 million carats in our Washington State foundry by the end of next year. That's almost 5 times the production we've had over the past couple of years. So that's very much going to be the focus of the funding. The demand we have right now for our products, for rough and polished and our jewelry, is outpacing some of the supply we have. So that's going to be a big focus to increase capacity. Right. And also, once we get there, this has been a great backing for our vision, because once we get there, our production size will be one of the world's 10 largest, similar to one of the world's 10 largest diamond mines. And not only this production will serve the semiconductor market, but also very much focused on growing Vrai, our direct-to-consumer sustainable fine jewelry brand. We rapidly grew into China. We just over this year we opened up in Europe, and now our jewelry is completely available there. We're opening up some retail spaces. So this is very much sort of driven by the growth we want to create with the funding.
So I want to talk about you a little bit. You moved over to the Foundry, to the CEO of Vrai. What did you first set out to accomplish for the Vrai brand?
Absolutely. We've been very focused at creating timeless jewelry with a modernity around it, where we can create a luxury piece for consumers that they feel good about wearing every day, and also use it for their life true moments, whether that's a milestone or celebration and whatnot. We saw a huge gap in the market where you've got the luxury legacy brands that they're always there, and they obviously demand and command a price point from consumers. Then you've got the lower end of the market with marketplaces, online marketplaces, or larger retailers and whatnot that have stock rings or stock jewelry, or bulk jewelry that's not customized or unique, or the craftsmanship and qualities in there. And obviously traceability is a big issue when it comes to jewelry market. So my vision was very much to focus on creating a product and a brand that can really fill this gap in the middle. A product that's it's an investment piece. It's a timeless necklace, or a piece that you can comfortably wear because it's high quality, it's recycled gold, it's very well crafted, but also it feels luxury. You feel that you're part of a bigger story, and you're part of a future. You're making an impact, and it really aligns with your value. And it's not a piece where you have to wait for an occasion to purchase, but because the values of the brand and the company resonates with you, you're buying that piece. So this was really a big focus when I moved over from Diamond Foundry to Vrai. During the time with Diamond Foundry, where our focus was very much educating the entire market about the lab-grown category, and working with multiple designers and collaborating with the larger community of jewelry and designers to help them use lab-grown diamonds and educate their consumers. When I moved over to Vrai, we really started working on honing in jewelry and collections that can cater to more engagement rings, bridal, and also jewelry collections for gifting. A lot of the work we're doing is gifting, but still continuing collaborations with some of the activists. In the market, we've worked with Amanda Hurst, a very known environmental activist. We work with Rob and Marielle. We just put out a collection with them, and they are the top 10 Hollywood stylists of the decade. Our jewelry has been on the red carpet. Actually, we were one of the first lab-grown jewelry companies that was on the red carpet, starting from a few years ago on the Oscars and Grammys and Met Gala carpet. These celebrities look at the piece, and they're looking for a sustainable jewelry option that looks luxurious, that they can wear on a red carpet. And we've been very sort of fortunate to have that following with us. People like Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Lopez recently, Heidi Klum. We've got Reese Witherspoon constantly sort of wearing us. And it's interesting that we're also just for an information, we don't believe in paid placements. Because
good.
we don't think it's authentic. Exactly. Consumers are so savvy. They will know. They know they know exactly which which actors or celebrities paid by which brand. And you can't fool consumers these days. They're very, very savvy, and we believe in that authenticity of choice. And these these influencers and celebrities are choosing our sustainable jewelry on their own, and picking it when they get presented with it. And that's exactly where we want to be, because we want to create products that are accessible, but they also feel extremely luxury.
We'll be back after this break with more of my interview with Mona Akhavi, CEO of Vrai. Inbox zero is a thing of the past. We're all inundated with email now, and it's no longer about responding to everything. It's about responding only to the important things, the messages that truly matter. And that's where SaneBox comes in. As messages flow in, SaneBox filters the distracting emails into your Sane Later folder, keeping only the most important ones front and center. See how SaneBox can magically tidy up your inbox and declutter your mind with a free 2-week trial. And get a $25 credit just for being a listener to the luxury item. Visit sanebox.com/luxury. That's sanebox.com/luxury. And now back to my interview with Mona Akhavi. And so who's Vray's competition? Is Vray's competition the diamond jewelers like Blue Nile or Zales, or is it the other lab-grown companies like Brilliant Earth and some other ones?
All of the above, and maybe none of the above in a sense. We have been able to offer collections and jewelry for a big spectrum of customers. Anyone who's looking for engagement ring or bridal, all the way to gifting, to someone who's looking for a high jewelry special piece that's very unique and personalized. They can look at a lot of our collaborations and collections. It's been interesting to be able to look at customers that are looking for these pieces in every aspect of the market. To tell you the truth, it's more so for us, it's been really listening to our consumers and what they're looking for and offering that, rather than looking at other brands in the market. I'll give you an example. We during the pandemic over the past year, our engagement rings grew by 290%. That was how much that category of bridal and engagement ring grew. Mm-hmm. Driven from that, we started to create a lot more unique offerings, offering unique shapes and diamond cuts and different collections on for engagement ring and bridal customers. So, for instance, the Amanda Hearst collaboration is inspired from her own wedding, creating pieces that can be worn on a special day, or they can be worn on any other day. And then the other kind of service that came out of looking at what our consumers want rather than what the competitors are doing was virtual appointments. We used to have virtual appointments where a consumer can do a Zoom or a video chat with a diamond expert on our team, learn about the diamonds, learn about our offering and jewelry. Just before the pandemic started, we saw a huge trend in this as consumers were asking for this more and more. And, we increased our capacity on that front. We expanded it all across US. Now we have virtual appointments in Europe and in Canada. And that area grew for us by 500%. That's the amount of sort of, requests we're getting. So it's been sort of great to sort of look at what the consumers want rather than what the competitors are putting out in the market.
And China already makes the lion's share of lab-grown diamonds, and it's been all the rage over there with young consumers. How come Vrai chose Shanghai to launch its first ever brick and mortar store instead of the US, where it was also, kind of a growing acceptance here as well?
Absolutely. The Asian consumer is extremely savvy and they're knowledgeable. They're usually the early adopters, and when lab-grown diamonds started, becoming a gemstone quality, they were very interested. There was a lot of press on that category. And also there was a lot of press about our company, Diamond Foundry, and we saw an opportunity for Vrai to go in there and start offering some of our products so that consumers can actually get a feel and try the products on. So it made complete sense to open an office there. Then we opened up our first showroom because we saw the requests that were coming in. Again, all consumer driven for us. We operate very much like a technology company. We innovate fast, we iterate fast. We don't have the overhead that some of the traditional jewelry companies and traditional miners have. So we're able to actually offer these types of things faster than possible and respond to the market's requests and our consumers' requests. We currently have a store in Shanghai. We'll be opening a second location in Xi'an this year. And Melrose was in the works. We have our first showroom in the US, in Melrose Place in Los Angeles.
Right.
That was in the works, but unfortunately with COVID, we shut it down. It's going to open up again just early July. And by end of year, we'll have our San Francisco location open as the second location in the US.
Oh, that's great. What did you learn about the Chinese consumer when it came to lab-grown diamonds since you opened up in Shanghai?
Absolutely. There was definitely a sense of education. There was a lot of education to go in there and them understanding the category. We focused quite a bit on that in the beginning. The fact that our foundry is the first to be certified carbon neutral, the fact that our jewelry is completely sustainable from solid gold being used all the way to our packaging. Our packaging is one of the top lines in the market because everything in that package from the outer box to the inner box is compostable and made of sugarcane material, so completely organic. All of these aspects was resonating extremely well with the Chinese market. In addition to that, one thing that really resonated was the value and the cost of the diamond. So that was very interesting to sort of see. They really cared about the fact that they get these all the wonderful factors that matters to them in terms of the sustainability of the diamond and the pieces being a bit more luxurious, but at a reasonable price point. And so we saw that being a big thing for them. And also the interesting part was the Chinese market is very much more focused on our jewelry. So they love our collections, they love our collaborations with celebrities, and have been a big proponent of our social following there. Consumers referring other consumers within the channels there.
Right. How do you think do you think it's going to be different when you open the Melrose Place in the US? How the consumer is going to be different?
A US market has always been very engagement and bridal focused for us. Because the first thing they think of, our consumers in the market are coming to us, and a lot of it is education. They've already done their sort of homework. They've looked for us. They come to us knowing about us. It's interesting, and knowing about lab grown. If they don't know the Vrai brand, they know about lab grown, and they come to us with that, conscious choice and decision. Versus in China market, it was from the beginning we had to educate them about the entire brand. In the US, I think Melrose will be a lot more focused on engagement ring and bridal, and also a lot of gifting, lots of bridesmaids pieces. Versus, we're hoping it would be a great time for us to showcase a lot of our jewelry collections as well. But one thing that has been very important to the US customers also our vertical integration. So the fact that from the moment our diamond starts growing to the moment it's in a ring or in the hand of the consumer, we control the entire supply chain. And that's been a great question. And they're usually asking about that. Where do you make the ring? Where do you make the packaging? How does your supply chain work? And one of the major questions within the US market is the middlemen. As you know, with the mine diamond industry and traditional jewelry, a diamond can exchange hands up to 15 times. And every time the diamond exchanges hands, the price is marked up further and further until it gets to the consumer. And unfortunately, that markup consumer pays is not necessarily going back to that community or that environment that diamond was excavated from, to repair and improve that community. So for US customer, knowing the origin, knowing the supply chain and the journey of the diamonds and our pieces has been a bigger question, and it'll definitely be a major point of question in our Melrose location as it comes up.
In Pandora, the world's largest jeweler, sent shockwaves through the diamond industry when it recently announced that it would no longer sell mined diamonds, opting instead for lab-grown ones. And strategically, that kind of makes sense for Pandora to move into lab-grown diamonds. It's an affordable brand for young customers who are most concerned about the environment and working practices. But despite the changing mindset, diamonds are still seen as a symbol of wealth and luxury. Last year, Louis Vuitton purchased the second largest rough diamond in history for millions of dollars. Dior, Gucci, Armani all unveiled fine jewelry collections with diamonds among them. So do you think these two trends can coexist?
They can, absolutely. We always encourage companies to take any step possible, whether they're mined luxury, whether they're lab grown, to become a lot more transparent and become a lot more, and the steps some of them have taken is fantastic. Become more conscientious, give a bit more education to the consumers. But these both trends can exist and will coexist. Lab grown industry is still about only 6 or 7% of the entire market in the world. However, the mine diamond industry, as you know, reduced a little bit. So over the past year, the volumes reduced quite a bit to 110 million only of carats of mine diamonds in the market. So we see a trend, obviously, lab grown being on the rise and on the growth, because over the pandemic even, the lab grown market grew by 2% when it comes to production. But still, both trends can coexist when it comes to a choice for the consumer. It's more so the question here for a lot of the brands and these companies should be, where is the consumer's mind at? It's one thing to have the supply, but is the demand there? And we're seeing that demand shifting drastically faster than production. Again, we don't have enough supply for the demand we're seeing. But also, if you look at the market trends over the past year, Bain & Co. puts out an industry report, and they reported that about 50 to 60% of the younger generation, the millennials and Gen Zs, are looking at sustainable and lab-grown options for purchases when it comes to diamonds. So I think the shift in the market is completely clear, and that's where the companies will have to sort of make changes. But yes, both trends will, as far as the next decade, they'll exist simultaneously.
Yeah. And another study that was out by De Beers, and they actually have skin in the game when it comes to lab-grown diamonds. Their survey found that more consumers view natural diamonds as authentic. It was like 60%, natural, 6% for lab-grown, romantic, and as a product, making them feel special, more so for natural diamonds than lab-grown. And this shows me that the value of natural diamonds continues to be about the emotions and feelings associated with the diamond and giving it to someone. So do you think lab-grown diamonds can ever capture those same feelings as natural diamonds?
It really depends on how how the consumer views that feeling, or how do they define romantic, or makes someone feel special, or how do they value. As for many people, knowing that the diamond is not blood diamond, or the origin of the diamond is clear, the diamond is traceable, or it's grown, for instance, with us, it's grown in Pacific West using clean energy and hydropower. These are some of the things that current consumers and the market trend is valuing. So knowing that there has been no human and environmental toll, it makes them feel good about wearing our diamonds and feel special. So that, the feeling associated and emotions, again, similar to market trends, that's changing. So absolutely, yes. people who didn't buy diamonds before, we're seeing them buy from us because they were concerned about the origin and they felt bad about it, and they felt helpless not being able to do anything about the mined diamond industry. So yes, absolutely, that feeling and emotion can change, and lab-grown diamonds can become a lot more romantic than mined
Right.
diamonds from the way we see it.
And you were actually talking a little bit earlier about the pressure that these diamond companies are under to be more sustainable and ethically sourced, and that's been growing for a while. And many have actually stepped up and communicating about their sourcing like LVMH and Richemont and Kering. They recently backed a system that will improve the traceability of colored gemstones, and even De Beers is using blockchain technology. So they're already kind of assuring more sustainable supply chains. So if lab-grown stones are all about appealing to consumers, making ethical and sustainable choices, isn't that what these large luxury companies are doing themselves?
For sure. I mean, it is. That's exactly why it's super important to for a company to be vertically integrated. But that's exactly why we're very well positioned in the market with having our own foundry and being able to offer that to consumers. We're one of the only sustainable jewelry companies in North America that's vertically integrated. But it's about creating that transparency for the market and education for the consumers. We were able to grow our diamonds, have them cut and polished in-house, set in our jewelry with our design team. It never leaves our hand. There's no middleman in question about the origin. So the luxury companies moving this way is, to me, a must. It's not a marketing act. It's not a regulation requirement. It's not, an ethical choice. There is no question in the CSR department where larger companies are doing studies around whether or not it makes sense to us and to the consumer. From where we stand and see it, it's a must for these guys to improve the traceability, or they won't be able to stay competitive in the market.
So the Natural Diamond Council has been stepping up its pushback against lab-grown diamonds. It complained this year to the U.S. National Advertising Division about Diamond Foundry's marketing practices, specifically claims of using certain terms that could create confusion about the origin of these lab-grown diamonds. So can you shed a little light on it, and what was the outcome of this?
Yes, absolutely. This topic, our favorite
I was waiting
topic.
towards the end to sort of bring that up.
Saving the best for last, Scott.
Exactly.
That's great. Yes, this was a big conversation for us. Incredibly, happy with what came out of it in April. Just after we were able to close the funding, NAD came out with a ruling, as you know. It's been really, really wonderful to see the whole industry, especially the National Advertising Division, that is there to protect the education around every industry, especially diamonds, for consumers. And again, at the end of the day, we want to make sure consumers have all the info they need to make the right decision, and they can make the choice between the two. But NAD came out and really recommended a number of things that we've been saying through Vrai and through Diamond Foundry, and working with our partners, whether jewelers, designers, vendors, and we've been saying that in the market. But that information coming from National Advertising Division was definitely a step forward towards the fact that lab-grown diamonds are, the future of this industry and here to stay. They came out and said, some of the claims that mine diamond industry is making about the environmental impact of lab-grown diamonds not being great are not true. So they encourage them to not advertise the fact that mine diamonds are better for the environment than lab-grown diamonds. There is no study on that. If anything, there is a lot more study around lab-grown diamonds being better for the environment, especially ours. As our foundry is zero emission. And also NAD came out and suggested that mine diamond brands, they're not allowed to advertise and say mine diamonds are scarce. there is no scientific proof on that there's scarcity in the market.
What kind of changes did you have to make? Did Diamond Foundry have to make?
You know what, to tell the truth, we didn't make any changes. It's interesting what we had to do. We've been labeling our diamonds as created sustainably all the time over the past many years. We've always said created sustainably, our foundry, certified carbon neutral, our foundry, Diamond Foundry, really mentioning the origin where the diamonds come from. We've been very proud of advertising in every channel and all of our, promotions about the fact that our diamonds are created, that they're lab grown. So, we didn't really make any changes. In any sense, we made it even more, we started really labeling our diamonds as Vrai created from Diamond Foundry, zero emission. And, we added to the messaging that we had even a lot more in a lot of our campaigns, which was really nice to see.
Well, did you have something you wanted to add?
One of the other things, the National Advertising Division also recommended that the mine diamond industry can't say that a lab-grown diamond is less valuable than a mine diamond. There is no proof or industry measures for that. So that was a really great educational moment for all of us and for the consumers, again, because there is no reasonable basis for those claims. It's all driven by consumer demand and the market.
Right. Okay. So the final question, Mona, which I ask all my guests, is the luxury item question. If you were stranded on a deserted island and you can only have one luxury item, what luxury item would that be? It can't be any form of transportation to get you off that island, or it can't have anything that requires mobile service. So it's just you and the island, maybe a couple of palm trees and the sand. What would that one luxury item be that you would have?
Oh, and I have nothing. I don't have my suitcase or anything, right? I've never gotten that. Oh, you know what, Scott? My skincare.
Your skincare.
My luxury skincare. I'm assuming this is a sunny island. I need my skincare. Yes.
Like for like a
it would be
sunblock?
too cliche. Yes, exactly. My skincare routine, sunblock and whatnot. It'd be too cliche for me to say diamonds. But if I had diamonds, I'd start designing jewelry to not get bored. But I go for my sunblock.
Okay, good. That's a good answer. Mona Akhavi, CEO of Vrai, thank you so much for joining me on the luxury item today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
That's it for this episode of the Luxury Item Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you found this useful and entertaining, I would be really grateful if you can share it with a friend or colleague. I would love it if you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It really helps other listeners find us. The Luxury Item Podcast is a production of Silvertone Consulting. I'm your host, Scott Kerr. Until next time.